I want to go next and try this drafting option. So let's get rid of our pad that we have in here. Let's create another sketch. So we can delete. We can bring it back. It doesn't matter. We can delete it while it's already hidden. So we can click on the multipath first, then delete, then click OK. Then let's go back to XY plane, open another sketch. Let's create another sketch. So let's try this new option right here, the profile. So let's click on it and let's create. See, when you create a straight line, it becomes blue. So let's create, let's go straight over here. Once you go up, then if you hold it down, if you hold and drag it, it's going to create a circle. So let's create a circle over here. And see, it's looking for a point to snap. So see right now, if I come here, I'm right at vertical position with this line. So if I go up, I'm always in that line. So what I can do, but at the same time, watch this parallel point right here. So right here, once you see the parallel sign, that means outline is parallel with this arc, and at the same time it's going to be at the end point with this right here. So I go up, now I get the parallel sign, and I know I'm right there. Then I go straight down, so we get the full moon. That means we're right at the end point of that line. But at the same time, see, it knows I'm on top of the line, so that's why our line is brown. If I move out, see, it deselects. So right now, so we can move over. So once you hit the middle of the line, it gets a full moon again. So it knows that's the middle of our line right there. Okay, so let's go back to the endpoint. And let's give it some dimensions again. So you know it's a vertical line right here, a horizontal, sorry. H is for the horizontal and V for vertical. So it knows that this line and this line are vertical. So let's give it some dimensions. Let's go to the constraint again. Click on this line with this line. Let's give it a dimension. Let's make it 2.5. Let's give a dimension over here. Let's give a dimension over here. Let's give an angle to this. Let's give a dimension to this. And also let's grab this part right now and snap it in on this XYZ coordinates. It's always good to fully dimension a sketch before we get out, because by mistake, you know, if we're not careful, we can, for example, if I delete this right here, and by mistake if I drag this, oh, let's try something else. Let's delete this right here. See what happened? And we don't want to do this by mistake. If we can drag it just a little bit, you just dragged it, and already we can mess up the sketch. So that's why it's very, very important before we get out of the sketch, we gotta snap everything into place, and we have to full dimension everything before we get out of the sketch. So let's go back and let's give a dimension again to this line. Let's give a dimension to this right here. Let's make it 60 degrees. Oops, try again. Oh, it knows that it's already dimensioned. it's already got dimension right here. So what happened is we got to delete this and go over here and change the dimension to 60. And let's give a radius. Let's make it 1 inch. And see if we try to dimension the line again. It knows we already did it before, so that's why we get the purple dimension, so it doesn't like that. We get a little icon over here, and if we get out of the sketch, it's gonna let us know that we have a problem, and that's because we double dimensioned that parameter. So what we gotta do, just delete this, and if I'm getting out of the sketch right now, everything is fine. So double click again, and we're back to normal. Oh, before I get out, I want to show you one cool option. If we take this line right here and let's break it, let's break it, and let's break it again. So right here, it's a broken line, so let's delete this. Let's get out of the sketch, and let's try to create a pad. It doesn't like it because it's not the sketch is not closed. So what will happen is, what we can do, we can say no, we can cancel this and go back in the sketch mode and find out what is broken. So what we can do a tools, sketch analysis, and then it showed us right here, as you see, there's 2 blue dots, and then it says it's open profile. So if you click on this, we got a couple options we can choose from. The set in construction mode, close the open profile, delete, high constraints, and high constraint geometry. So we can click close. So watch this. If I click close, automatically it's going to connect my sketch. It's a pretty cool option. I like it a lot because sometimes I have some complicated contours and I don't know where the part is broken. And you can see over here a whole bunch of broken contours, and I just click on it and close it. Click and close. Okay, so if we get out of here, get out of the sketch, we try to do a pad. Click OK. See, we can have the pad, but at the same time, we can have this line in the pad. This line knows that our sketch was broken over here, which it doesn't affect our pad at all. It doesn't have nothing to do with the pad. Okay, so let's go back. Let's delete this pad. Let's go back on the sketcher. Oops, I deleted the whole thing. So what we want to do, we can delete the pad without deleting the sketch. So we'll go back in the sketch mode right now. We'll click on this, pre-select this point or this point. Let's go back to our constraints. Let's do right click, coincidence. Oh, we didn't fully dimension this because we've broken the lines. So let's undo this. See, because we've been broken this line right here, it's not fully constrained. So let's get rid of this. Create a new line, and let's dimension it. Okay, let's try it again. Pre-select the points. Let's go to dimension. Let's do right click, coincidence. Now everything that's move to the origin. So right now we can now it's fully constrained, this whole geometry. If we try to move it, we can't. because it's fully constrained. So right now we cannot mess it up even if we want to. Alright, so let's get out of here and let's create a revolve. Let's click on the sketch. Let's axis is looking for an axis, so let's click on this. Let's click OK, and we have a weird solid over here, which is not the right way of creating a revolution. But what we can do, we can try it again. We can delete this shaft. If you deselect this option, it's not gonna delete our sketch, so that's very important. So let's create this the right way. Let's delete the sketch, everything we have in here, and let's create our over here an axis. As you see, if I create it vertical, it snaps and also gets blue. So that means we know for sure we got a vertical line. See, we got this line right here for V, vertical line. And we can go again to the profile, and we can try to build sketch. So as I mentioned it before, when you use the profile, if you quick tap, you just create the lines. But if you click and drag, it's going to create an arc. Okay? So let's see what we're going to do with this. I don't know what I'm doing over here, but anyway, you guys can figure out whatever profile you guys want to try it out. See, once I'm on the middle of this line right here, it snaps into it, so I know I'm right on top of this line. So once it gets brown, it knows that I'm on top of it. So I'm gonna click over here to make sure I'm at the end of axis, so intersects with the axis. Okay, so now if we click escape, we got our weird shape profile in there. We can get out the sketch, and we can try the revolve option again, the shaft, and it knows our axis that we created before, so automatically it gives us the profile. So click OK, and this is your, whatever you want to call it, I guess, cup. It looks pretty funny to me. It seems like I got too carried away with that cup, and I forgot to create our little drafted pad. So let's go back in our sketch mode. Let's go into sketch mode, and let's create a rectangle again. And this time, before I click, I want you to hit the tab key so we can come in here and put the width and height ourselves. So let's click, let's go 4 inches over here, and let's create this 2 inches, then click enter, and watch what happens. Automatically we got a fully dimensioned rectangular, and we don't have to create the dimensions anymore. It's fully constrained. The only thing is not constrained is not constrained to the axis of a sketch, which is important. So let's give it a quick dimension. See, it automatically knows it's fully dimensioned, and the moment I want to do this constraint, it knows I already have it over there somewhere before, so I have it down here. But if I click on the horizontal line, then it will let me put the dimension. So you can click OK, double click on the dimension, let's make this 1 inch, and see, this way I'm able to move the rectangular this way. And we gotta give it one more dimension. Sorry, Let's pre-select this line, click on the constraint with this vertical line over here. We can click the dimension over here, or if we do a right click, click coincidence, and we just bring it, snap it in place. So right now if you click on this line or this line and try to move it around, you can't because it's already snapped in place, and that's the best way of creating this. Let's create some corner radius on this part. So let's click on the corner radius. We want to do this line with this line. Same thing, click the tab key, and right here we can put the dimension. So let's make that 250, enter. Or we can, instead of pre-selecting the lines, instead of doing pre-selecting the lines like this and go to the corner radius and give it the dimension, what we can do, we just can drag the mouse and highlight the point. As you see, it got brown, and click on the corner radius, and we can do the same thing. Go to the tab down here, and double click on the dimension, call that 250 also. So we can do the same thing over here. We can highlight all the points, just drag your mouse. Let's highlight this, click on the corner. We got our points selected. Let's give it a dimension 250, and there we go. And as you see over here, we got a little formula right here. So that means if I change this right here, automatically it's going to change the one on top. Okay. So let's go back to 250. That's a very nifty feature. I like to use that a lot because it saves me a lot of time. Instead of doing pre-selecting each line individually and creating this, I just highlight like this, get all the points out of it, and create our little corner. So let's get out of the sketch. Let's create a path first, because we're not able to create we cannot create our drafted pad if we don't have a solid first. So let's create a little box, create on the pad. Let's make it 1 inch, click OK. Then we'll go back over here. We'll click on the drafted icon, and we have to click on the sketch first. It's going to ask you which is our limits. So it's going to ask you how long do you want your length. So let's make this 1/2 inch. The first limit is looking for the dimension, so we can put our first limit over here. Let's reverse this, and let's put our limit right here. So right now you see we got everything ready to go. Let's put our degrees, 7 degrees, and if we put preview, there's a little drafted pad, 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch from here to here. We can change this, double click on it, click OK. Let's do a preview, and automatically updated our pad. And same thing with the radiuses, they don't have to be all 197. We can change it to maybe 200 over here, 300 over here, and 50,000 on the limit radiuses. If we do a preview, then we do OK, we can see our little radiuses, they're not all the same. We got 50, 300. Sorry, I zoom out too quick again. Sorry about that, I apologize. I guess my mouse doesn't like me too much. Okay, so that's a little drafted surface, and we can edit it anytime. Just double click on it and automatically throws us into that draft definition. We can change the degrees right away. Let's make it 15. Let's click preview, click OK, and that's our draft right there. Double click on the fillet, same thing, we can change it to 1/2 inch. Let's do a preview. Oh, it's just too big, so it doesn't like that because it overlaps, so let's make it a little smaller. let's make it 350. So that's a little bit still too big. So let's make it 300. Actually, let's get a little smaller, 250. Click OK. And same thing with this radius over here. We can go back on the tree, or we can go down here. Just double click on the fillet and automatically we can update it. This one can go to half inch, no problem, because we have a lot of base. So that should work. Okay? So that's our little drafted part right here. I wanted to try this option over here, apply material. And if you don't have this on the screen, because probably it's turned off. If you don't have it on the screen, probably it's turned off. So what you can do, just come here, just do a right click, and that's called apply material, which is right here. Click OK, and just put it back in here. And this allows us to apply material to the part. In order to see the material, we gotta change this mode to the material shade. So now we can grab, this is some custom material that comes with CATIA. So let's choose, let's see what else they have in here. Instructions. They got a lot of options you can choose from. Metal, powder. So let's try the umber mirror. So we can grab it and drag it right into the part. And as you see, it shows up on the part body right here. And if we click OK, as you look at this part, it's got the mirror view to it. Okay, so we can change this to any size we want. So what we can do, we can delete this. We have to make sure that we have this selected on shading material. So we got the wireframe, we got see-through. This is my favorite one, shading with edges. So we have to make sure we set it up for shading with material. So just click on it, then click on this icon, apply material, and we can choose any of those options. We just grab it and drag it right into the part, and it's super easy. See, chessboard, same thing. You can grab it, drag it into the part, click OK, then you can double click on the chessboard. We're gonna take a couple of seconds to load up. Well, actually that was pretty quick. And we can change the settings, to move this up and down. We can rotate the orientation. That's got a couple options you can choose from, or if you have your own image, you just click on this icon over here and you select your pictures or whatever you have lined up, any pictures that you have. So there's a couple options you can choose from. I thought I'd show you this, is pretty cool. So cancel that, click OK, and see if we're going to change the shading back to normal. You won't be able to see it anymore, even though you have it in here. So once again, you have to make sure, click on the shading with material. Okay, let's put it back to me. Let's start a new part. Let's close this down. Save no. Let's put file. You can put new, and then we can type in here part. So you can see it down here. So click OK. Now let's open another sketch. Let's go on the XY plane. Let's create a rectangle again. And let's put a corner radius between those two lines. So we can do this couple ways. We can pre-select those two lines and click corner radius. And we can give it a dimension 0.250, or Control Z, get out of here. We can just highlight it, corner radius, click the tab key, click on the radius, click 250, and we got our corner radius. Okay, so now if we get out of this sketcher, create a pad, we can click on the limit, move it up and down, click OK. We can add fillets to the pad on the 3D mode view. So we can create on the sketch view, see over here on the sketch, if you do right click and turn it on, so you can turn it off, turn it on. What it does, it just puts it on a no-show level, which is up here. Okay, so we can bring it up again. We could have put a corner radius into the sketch, but we can do it also on a 3D view. So if we pre-select this line, then we go to edge fillet. We can also do it this way. So we got the edge in there. Or if you double click on this and click on the fillet, holding the control key down, we can pre-select the other three edges and click OK. And we have our fillets. Let's try to create a hole. So we can click on this icon down here, then the face you want to put a hole on, so we can click on the top face, and you see this is our hole right here. As you see right here, we can have those axes, we can move it anywhere, we can move this up and down anywhere on the face. If you move it out of the face, and if you try to click OK, it says it's out, it's impossible because it's exceeding the limits. So we can grab it and put it back in. So for now we can just throw it anywhere, and we can change the dimension. We can put blind or up to next. We're gonna go all the way through. So if you click preview, we can see what it does. Or we can just put dimension, and we can put 1/2 inch. The diameter was going to be 1/2 inch, and the depth, let's make it 1/2 inch also. And we can do a preview. You can see automatically change the diameter over here, and click a preview, and there is our hole. Okay, click OK. Then we have a hole. As you watch the tree, automatically it created another sketch. So if you double click on the sketch, this is the point where the center of the hole is. So if you want to give it some dimensions, you want to constrain it, we can click on the constraints, click on pre-select this point with this axis. Let's make it 6 inch, and also Let's give it a vertical dimension. Let's make it 1.5. Click OK, get out of the sketch. So now our hole is defined. Okay. Let's try the shell. It's asking for the face to remove, and if you see it down here on the corner, it says select the face to be removed. So we can click on this face, and we can put the thickness. We can leave it to 50 thou, or we can make it 100,000 or 150,000 and click OK, and automatically we got the shell. Okay. Then let's put some fillet around this. Click on the edge fillet, and we can do this two ways. We can do tangency, and if we do a tangency, let's put 300,000 and put preview. It's trying to put a fillet around the whole part, but if we click minimal and click preview, what it does is trying to put it only on this edge that we just selected. So use whatever is convenient for you. Click preview, click OK, and there's fillets. Okay, then we can try to put a fillet in here. We can click on this edge, click on this edge, then go back to fillet. We can try chamfer, and we can put it 50,000. Click preview. Okay, and we have a chamfer. As we move farther and farther, we see our tree is adding more options to it, and can become very confusing. So what we can do, we can go to tools and work object, and if you click on the scan or define and work objects, we can start from the beginning, which was a pad, and we can see each option individually that we went through. So it's gonna make it easy for us. So then we created the hole. So we got the edge fillets, those three, because this one over here is created with a sketch. That's how we're not able to see those axes. Then we created a hole on top over here. Then we create a shell on the inside. Next, we create the edges on top of the part. And the last one is the chamfer. Okay, so we can keep on track of all the options we went through, because it can get very complicated, and this way we can keep on track. Let's take this baby to the next level. Let's go a little bit more advanced. So let me hide this sketch over here, and let's try to put another sketch on this view on the front of the part. So what we can do, we can click on sketch, and it's asking us for the planar plane. So what we can do, we can click any planar plane, we can create a sketch. If it's a radius, we cannot put it over there, so just click on the plane. Let's create a rectangular shape. Okay, let's create an arc. On top of this, So let's click the middle point to this endpoint, and you can see how it snaps into point. We get that full moon. And if it's hard to see, what we can do, come down here and let's do a wireframe and see how it gives the full moon. That way we know that we're in the endpoint of that line, endpoint of this line. We'll get the full moon again, click OK. And let's create this line as a construction element. Okay, so now we got the sketch ready. We can get out of here. We can go back to shading with edges, and let's go to pocket. Pocket is the same thing as a pad, but it's cutting instead of adding. So we can put dimensions or up to next. Click OK. So there's our sketch going through the part. Now we can edit the sketch a little bit. And let's say maybe we want to put it in the middle, on the middle of the part. So we can click on this surface right here, this face, and we can click on this project 3D elements, and then if you watch what happened, it brought in on our sketch mode this line, and it's dotted because we are still on a construction standard element. So if I turn it on, now it becomes as a solid line. So we're still gonna use it as a construction element. And let's do the same thing on this side. Click on this face, then project into your sketch the 3D element. Now we can create a line, a horizontal line between these two lines. So when it gets blue, we know that it's horizontal, so we can do just click on it. We got H over here, so we know it's a horizontal line. And we can create a point in the middle. So we get the full moon, that means we're in the middle of the line. Click OK. And let's pre-select this point. We got 2 points pre-selected, and let's go to constraint. And before you click, let's do a right click and then coincidence. And we got our part in the center. Let's give it a dimension over here. Select on this line, hold the control key down, this line, control down with this line. Then let's give it a dimension. Double click. Let's make it a 1/2 inch. Click OK. So now we got our little sketch linked to this edges at the end. So we got our dimension. And if we want to give it another dimension from the center to the bottom, we can click on this over here, constraint, with this horizontal line, and we can do it 800. So we fully dimension it. Now if we get out of the sketch, automatically it's going to update our part. We can do the same thing on this side. We can click on this surface, click on the sketcher, and we can create another rectangular. Then we can create a arc over here. We got the full moon, so that now we snapped the right endpoint. Gotta click on this line, set as a construction, and let's give it another try. Let's get it out of the sketcher. Let's put pocket again. Let's go up to next. We can give it a dimension, or we can go up to next. They put preview, and it's going all the way to the pocket. Click OK, and then we have our second sketch.